Hey, it's James from Marketing for Restaurants here, and welcome to episode 64 of Secret Sauce, the Restaurant Marketing Podcast. 11 restaurant marketing myths exposed.
Some restaurants are quiet, lose money, and the owner works 70 hours a week. Other restaurants are busy, profitable, and the owners work a few hours a day. What's the difference? They have a secret sauce. Join James from Marketing for Restaurants as he helps you come up with your recipe for restaurant success. Your secret sauce.
Welcome back, everyone. So last week we looked at flavor, and how to turn how Wally at Mama's Barbecue Chicken and Salad Bar in Endeavour Hills has had over 1 million views on Facebook. So, and I think, everyone should have been out doing a chicken dance or coming up with something that expresses the way that they want to tell their story on Facebook Live. That's an easy no-brainer thing to do to start finding more customers and turning them into repeat customers. So today what we want to do is we want to start looking at some restaurant marketing myths exposed. And I think this is going to be a fairly important podcast because a lot of the myths that we're going to be talking about today, these are myths that are really holding people back. These are things that people fundamentally believe, which I hope to go through and debunk a lot of these myths because they are costing people sometimes thousands of dollars every month. There are restaurants out there that these myths are costing tens of thousands of dollars every month. I know restaurants who are losing over $100,000 just because of some of the fundamental mistakes that they're making. And these mistakes, they don't think they're doing the wrong thing. They think they're following best practices when in reality, they're not. Some of the time they're spending money that they don't need to spend. Other times they are missing out on massive economic benefits because of things that they're doing wrong or aren't doing. Before we get into that, dark kitchens. I've written a bit of a blog article on dark kitchens. The term is becoming increasingly bandied around in the media, and a lot of restaurants are really starting to try and get their head around exactly what a dark kitchen is. So a dark kitchen comes from the supermarket industry, and so now with online delivery in supermarkets, they've got dark supermarkets. These are supermarkets that aren't designed for customers to go into. There's a team of pickers and packers, and they're putting the orders, they go into a truck and then they're delivered to the customers' homes. So effectively, a dark kitchen is a very similar concept, not structured in any way, shape or form for customers to come in to eat in, not even to pick up a lot of the time. So it is designed specifically for delivery. Now, they've become quite popular with Deliveroo. Deliveroo's planning on opening 200, and I think they raised something like $600 million to really push this out. We go into quite a bit of depth in the blog article. The edited highlights are, I think that one of the trends that not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that restaurants are starting to do this themselves. And there's a couple of benefits to this. Obviously, you're saving on the massive commission that Deliveroo charge, and for a lot of restaurants out there, it is 35%. Now, and one of the other trends that we're starting to see is people who are pulling out from people like Uber Eats and Deliveroo. We're not seeing too many people who are using Fedora in Australia, and I think that they'll probably leave fairly soon. But they're struggling with profitability issues because they're losing the 35%. We're seeing other people who are doing things like they're playing with portion sizes, playing with recipes, playing with ingredients to try and get the food costs down. But the 35%, even though you are making a saving because there's no front of house and there's no rent, it can be quite difficult to do that. And the other thing, of course, is that you're not building your brand, you're building someone else's brand. You don't get the email address of your customers, which really makes it difficult to go back and market to those people. And if you've cooked a great burger or a great vindaloo, those customers want to hear from you, but you can't actually directly reach out to them. And I think that this is a big problem, and it's only going to get bigger. So we're seeing more and more restaurants who are actually, they're hiring space in a factory, in a less commercial area where the rent's a lot cheaper. Some of them are building a single restaurant and they're doing delivery out of that. And sometimes it's delivery only. I think the best practice is going to evolve to be delivery and takeout from a dark kitchen, which is an extension of your brand. I think that there's a lot to be said for that. We're hoping to do an interview around the economics of doing delivery which I think is going to validate our thinking that if you can get the customer to come and pick it up, then it's a whole lot more profitable for you. So looking at the work that Domino's have done, they really do drive very aggressively for people to come and pick up the food. It's much, much cheaper if the customer picks it up. And I think that you'll find that there'll be a lot of restaurants out there who are going to do a dark kitchen, a little bit of paint on the front, a little bit of branding so that customers can come in and pick it up. And that's going to make a really, really big difference. Now, on to our 11 restaurant marketing myths exposed. So what I want to do is we're going to go through what the myth is. And these are things that we hear all the time, okay? We're talking to restaurants all the time. We've got our revenue optimization consultants out there. They're talking to lots of restaurants all the time. We've got our marketing and support team. They're talking to our customers. And these are the kind of things that we're getting fed back to us as to what it is that restaurants think, how they think that restaurant marketing works. Now, the number one, and this is one of my pet peeves, is that SEO is an ongoing monthly cost. Every time we talk to someone who says that they offer an SEO service and, it's $100, $200, $1,000, $2,000, whatever the price, what's involved with that? Because what will happen is that they'll go through and they'll sometimes talk about what keywords you want to be optimized for, which I always think is interesting because the marketing person should tell you what you want to be optimized for. You tell me what your business plan is about, you tell me what your offering is about, and I'll tell you the keywords that you want to be optimized about. Because I'm a restaurant marketer, that's what I do. If someone's saying to you, what keywords do you want to be optimized for? They don't really understand. You guys aren't in marketing. So how are you going to know what keywords you want to be optimized for? This is one of the big issues that we start to see. And so there's a lot of restaurants out there who are paying, and sometimes it's north of $1,000 a month, which I find absolutely fascinating. So what does this SEO company do? Well, they do our SEO. Okay. Now, sometimes restaurants don't even know what that is. So you have to explain it. It's search engine optimization. It's what you get found for in Google, how much traffic Google refers to you. And we say to the restaurant, okay, so find out what it is that they do. Now, sometimes the restaurant will be getting reports, and that's often it. Sometimes they'll say, we submit your names to indexes and we write blog articles about you and all of that sort of stuff. That's SEO practices from, a few years ago. And Google's been really anti, these kind of spammy links that people are putting in to kind of drive traffic. So they don't really work anymore. So unless the SEO company is talking to you about an ongoing evolution of content on your website, they're not really doing SEO for your restaurant. And so we find that this happens time and time and time again. And the way that I spent a bit of time talking to a guy who runs an SEO business. And effectively what they do is they find people, they sign them up on a contract, and they try and keep them for as long as possible. But they've always got salespeople going out and finding more people. And so they know that if they've got 50 people on a $1,000 contract, that's $50,000 a month coming in. And they know that they'll lose 10, 20, 30% of those a month. They just need to find those new restaurants to get them across the line. Or this is the other thing that's really interesting. A lot of them don't specialize in restaurants, so they'll just do SEO for anyone. I'm very finicky about that because you need to understand the business. You need to understand what people are searching for. Yes, there's tools out there that you can use, which, interestingly enough, a lot of people don't use. A lot of these SEO companies don't use. They're really just out there to sort of put a report out on a monthly basis and make it appear that they're doing work. So you should really, when we do this with some of our restaurants, we'll sit down and go, right, let's redo the SEO. Let's have a good look at it. What are the kind of things that we want to be targeting? And we'll have missed out a few things, or, the business will have evolved, make a few changes. And that's it. The SEO is done. And you can see a bit of a jump in traffic, or if it's a new customer come across, you might see a big jump in traffic because of the fact that they're actually getting found for things that they weren't being found for. This leads us on to the second myth, and that is if you're number one when someone searches your name, you have great SEO. Okay, so Google has, unlike a lot of people, I spent some time talking to some of the Google search guys at their campus in Mountain View. And now they didn't tell me what the algorithm was. They don't tell anyone that. They didn't give me any specific things, but the one thing that I took away was what it is that Google's trying to do. Google's a massive company and there's a whole heap of smart people there, a lot smarter than you or I. All of the smart people work there. Now, they're trying to provide really good search answers. So if your restaurant is called, let's say, Frank's Diner, if you own Frank's Diner, when people are Googling Frank's Diner, they're looking for information on it. Now, if your website is anywhere near decent, you should come up the top because people are looking for your website. They want to know what the address is. They want to know, are you open today? What's on the menu? What does it look like? What are those things that people need when they're planning on coming out to your restaurant? So Google will actually work pretty hard to rank the website of a restaurant towards the top. So it's only if you've got one of those crappy one pages that some of the third-party companies will do, or if you don't have a website, or if your website is actually just your Facebook page. Those guys really struggle. You know, we see some Wix and Squarespace people, or Weebly, see a Weebly every now and then. Those guys will often struggle to get high up in the search rankings for their name. You know that you've got a bit of a problem when people will reach out to us and say, we need some help, and we give them a call and we say, yeah, so, well, you don't have a website. And they go, yes, I do. It's like, oh, do you? What is it? And they say, oh, it's this, and they give us the URL. And it's like, oh, wow, there you go. You do have a website. I couldn't find it. And I've got to tell you, we actually look for the website. It's not like we're just, they don't have a website. Because most of the people who are looking for your website, if they can't find it in 15 seconds, they're gone. It's the old joke in SEO land, where's the best place to hide a body? On page 2 of Google, because no one ever looks there. So you want to be thinking about that. And I always think that I'm going to give you the secret to SEO. So this is drilled into our team from day one when they joined the company. And we're working on a fairly extensive training program now because we've been scaling up our team. I think there's like 12 or 13 people in the team now. Well, this is the big thing that we drill into them, the secret of SEO. And I'm going to give it to you because I don't think it should be a secret. What is the problem that you solve? If I had that problem, what would I type into Google? Now, that's it. That is SEO. So we need to do a little bit of work on what is the problem that you solve because, some restaurants don't really, they kind of struggle with this. What is the problem that you solve? And don't say, oh, we're an Indian restaurant. Well, that's one part of it. Okay, so because there are two types of people who are going to be looking for your restaurant. There are those who know about you and those who, and people say to me, they get all confused. How is someone who doesn't know my restaurant going to look for it? It's like, because they're not looking for your restaurant, they're looking for the solution to their problem. Because there's only one type of person who uses Google, and that is a person with a problem. So what is a good vegetarian restaurant near me? Now, if you have a vegetarian offering that's, that you're proud of, then you should be doing SEO around vegetarian restaurant in your suburb, with those catchment areas. Family friendly, gluten free. There's a lot of niches out there. And this is why, people who do a really good job with their SEO, they might have 30 pages in their website. Because if I'm looking for a gluten free restaurant, then I am very, very different to someone who's looking for the best Indian restaurant in town or the best hamburger joint in town. I have some very specific needs, and I want those needs to be addressed so that I can then make a commitment to a transaction here. So many times, we see people who say, oh, I've got great SEO, and then you start talking to them and they've got an amazing story and they've got an amazing niche offering, and it's not on the website. And then you say, do you get a lot of people in for this? No. You know what? One of the big things is you're not telling Google that you do that. So SEO is a lot more complicated than, just searching for your name and going, hey, that's awesome. Now, and just when you are checking your SEO, if you're using Chrome, click on the 3 little buttons in the top right-hand corner, and the third one down is New Incognito Window. Open that up because that does a search that doesn't reference your search history. One of the things that people say is like, look at this, I'm fantastic, I'm number 1. It's like, I'm looking at that and I'm not seeing that. Because if I've never if I've never been on your website before, I'm going to have a different search result to if I've been on it 10 times. If I've been on it 10 times, Google's going to go, you know what, James loves this website. He's always going there. Let's show it to him right at the top. That's probably what he wants. So if you've been there 10 times, it's, for any arcane kind of search that, you meet the bare minimum requirement for with Google, boom, you're going to be up number one because Google knows that you love going to that website. Now, the next myth, and this is an epic one. If the food is great, they will come. Because great restaurants don't need marketing because word of mouth will work for them. So, there's a couple of problems with that. First up, a lot of people think that, that they're amazing food, that as soon as I'm eating it, I'm going to be, oh my God, this food is amazing. I need to tell all of my friends out there. And there's a little bit of a backlash in Facebook about people, taking photos of their food. There's a lot of demand on people's social media time. So people are becoming less and less likely to do that. So it's actually quite tough if you're relying just on word of mouth to get the story out about your restaurant. The other thing is that there are a lot of restaurants out there who are very aggressive in their marketing. They're running Facebook campaigns. They're engaging in very active public relations campaigns. They're having a good think about what it is that they want to be putting on the menu that's going to capture the imagination of the people. They'll be sending out emails, and emails is a really, really amazing method of doing marketing. Other people don't see it. If you're not on the mailing list, then you don't see it. And people are going, oh, why is this restaurant really, really busy? And it's like, interesting. So there are some restaurants out there that don't do any marketing, and the chef is just incredibly talented and they've picked the right time, the right location, all of those sort of things. Everything's sort of fallen in place and they're really successful for it. But they are the top 1%. There's a lot of other restaurants who are doing a lot of marketing, and I can't say this enough. Too many times, great restaurants get out-marketed by restaurants with great marketing. And the great marketing, the restaurant with the great marketing, they're the ones that are successful. And the restaurant with the great food, the great value, the great experience, they're the ones that go to the wall. And I think that that's really sad. So if you think that you can get by without marketing, I think you need to have a really good hard look at it. Definitely, and I'd like to talk to you if you're not doing any marketing whatsoever and you're full 5 nights a week, that's epic. That is epic. But so many people who don't do any marketing, or they've got the really crap website, there'll be something else that they're pouring their heart and soul into to drive the demand for their restaurant. So everyone, I think, needs to think about that. So the next one I want to talk about is emails don't work. They just go into spam. Now, the thing about email is that these are going to be people who have probably eaten in your restaurant. So, the old small business maxim that it's easier to get an existing customer to buy from you again than it is to go out and find a new customer. Because you think about the customer journey that you've got to do. You've got to create awareness, interest, desire, and then the action. The awareness and the interest, it's one of the old marketing methodologies, but I quite like it because it's very unlikely that someone's going to see a single post on Facebook and go, oh, I'm going to eat there. Now, you can do it. It is possible. But generally, people want to hear about a restaurant, then they, someone goes there, there's maybe a little bit of word of mouth, maybe a couple of Facebook posts, maybe you go to the website and you have a look at the food, all of those sort of things. There's lots of steps involved to get that initial reaction. If someone's gone to your restaurant and, they may not have made the booking, they've gone as a guest, but if they've been in your restaurant, if they've had a great time, if they've experienced great food, they've had great value, they are a lot easier to get back for a second time. And email is fantastic because, the open rates are usually quite high because of the fact that it's a restaurant that people like. Yes, I would like to know what's going on there. Is this something I should be thinking about? Do they have a new menu item that I should be going out? Or, if you do discounting and deals, what is the discount and deal that is being offered? I'm going to have a look at this because there might be a good deal. Maybe I can save myself cooking tonight. I can take the family out for a meal. The insidious thing about email marketing is that you don't get to see it. In the old days, we talk about it, Yellow Pages, used to get to see who was doing all of the marketing because pretty much that was the most marketing that people did, was in Yellow Pages. And you could see who had a big ad. And it's like, wow, those guys are really doing a lot of marketing. You can send an email out to 20,000 people. You can fill a restaurant for a month and no one outside of that email list of 20,000 people knows what it is that you're doing. They don't know what the offer was. They don't know what the special event it was that you were doing, what the menu item was. They don't know any of that. It's all dark. And we know that it is one of the easiest ways, particularly, and I love this for yield utilization, dragging people from the Saturdays when you're really busy on a Saturday and you want to focus more on your walk-ins because they're probably new customers, get some of those regulars who are probably highly likely to come in on a Saturday night, send an email out and drag them onto a Tuesday night. You might discount, you might offer a happy hour type deal, or my preferred way of doing it is run an event. Team up with the local winery, team up with the local suppliers, team up with a book club, team up with someone who's teaching language courses in your dialect. Do some sort of event that moves us away from selling food to selling an experience. Get the people in on a Tuesday night. And it's interesting when you see people, wow, that place is really busy. We should go there and check it out. Now, it might have been a book club and they all might have ordered, $12 entrees. But the fact that the place is busy on a Tuesday night, it creates that interest and people are like, well, I wonder if we should go in there. We should go in and check that out. That's a new customer. It's then over to you to create that value, create that experience so that it's going to be a lot easier for you to bring them back as a repeat customer. Now, the other component of that, of course, is how do you build your email database? And the thing that we find is that with our free online restaurant booking system and the free restaurant online ordering system, there are people who are adding hundreds of emails every month to that list. So you can quite conceivably have an email list of 5,000 people. If you move in at a good clip after 12 months, probably more likely 2 years. And the thing is, it's going to take 2 years to do that. And it's like, yep, but if you don't start today, then you're not going to start. And this is why you've got such a massive advantage when you're trying to drive yield. Now, the other component of it is, of course, if you want to sell the business and you can say, so I just want to give you my MailChimp report. We've got 10,000 people in the email list. You can see that we've got a 21% open rate and 6% click-through rate. So 6% of those people, that's 1,200 people came across. And of course, if you're using the online booking system, Forbes, it will actually tell you how many people clicked on a redemption. Now, the kind of thing that I think works really well when you're trying to sell a business is like, so we did one last month and, we sold 3,000 seats on it. We have been pretty slack with our email marketing, so we haven't done as much of it as we could have. So that would be one of the things for whoever buys it. That would be the first thing I'd be doing is to send out a monthly email. In a buyer's eyes, it's like ka-ching. It's so easy to send an email out. We've got 20,000 people here who love the restaurant, good engagement rates with the emails. This sounds like a really good opportunity for me to buy. So you're turning that 20,000 person mailing list into a really tangible benefit. But you don't need to be focusing on your sale price. At the end of the day, it's just really easy. If you're going to run an event, you can send it out to 20,000. And I like having, events where you can only fit 100 people in because they sell out. And it's like, oh man, that thing's sold out because people really want what they can't have. And it's like, oh, sorry, it's sold out. And it's like, damn, next time they run an event, I've got to get onto it really quickly because they run out really, really fast. Now, number 5 on our list is that Facebook no longer works. And there's been a few people who have been talking about this. Facebook's has come out about how they're making some changes and they're going to be pushing posts from pages, further into obscurity because of the fact that they're now full. Facebook has only got so many eyeballs that it can show things to, and every business has now got a Facebook page and they're all putting up all sorts of crazy stuff. And so it's very hard to get cut through for your brand. And a lot of people say that Facebook just no longer works. And, it's interesting. We're talking to people who've been using Facebook for a long time, and they're the ones who can they're tracking what it was like 5 years ago when, they'd put something up and it would go viral and 10,000 people would see it. And they're now saying, we're putting the same thing up. We've got twice as many people following us on Facebook, but we're getting, only 100 people are seeing it. And it's like, yep, exactly. The answer to that is that Facebook is pretty much pay to play. Now, if you can nail that unique selling proposition and the story that you have and the way that you want to tell that story, then it's not pay to play. And if you didn't listen to last week's episode, then listen to last week's episode. Because Wally, Mama's Barbecue Chicken, over 1 million views on Facebook, turned his business around, and I think he only promoted about 6 posts. So he put a little bit of petrol on the fire for some of his earlier posts, and from there just cracked on relentlessly. And I think, he's been doing really well with that. He's an outlier. I'm not expecting you to go out and create a whole heap of viral videos that are going to be seen by millions of people. So don't stress too much there. But what I would say is that you need to be thinking about Facebook campaigns. When we say that it's pay to play, a lot of people think, what kind of budget is it that we should be putting at it? And the reality of it is, for most restaurants, it's pretty low budget. It's one of the biggest issues that a lot of restaurants have is, how do you skill up a team? And what we've done is we've created a video course. It's about 2.25 hours, I think, and it takes people step by step through how to run their first Facebook ad for a restaurant. So we don't do anything overly fancy. We talk about how the different kind of posts that you can put up, and for your first post, what you should be putting up. We talk about the kind of content that you can put up, the types of posts that you can do, funny, offers, all of those sort of things. And we give you some recommendations. There's one part of it which goes for about 20 minutes, and we just go through a whole heap of posts from some restaurants that we follow and like. And we sort of give a critique on why we think that those posts are really good. And that's designed to give you some inspiration as to the kind of content that you want to do. We then talk about creating the content, some basic photography type things, as well as, how you're going to get the edit the artwork. So both, making it look a little bit more spiffy for Facebook and putting text into the image if you want to. And then finally, there's one part which is designed for you to open up Facebook and have it ready to go, and step by step just follow us through. And we're going to talk about targeting and how you can put that in, all of the different options in there. What do they all mean? Which ones should you select? And then we finally talk about budgeting. And I think so this is a really cool tool to sort of help you understand how to put that first Facebook ad up there. And this is a massive opportunity. I'm so excited about this because very few restaurants are using Facebook ads at all. So it's only going to be harder, which means that there's only going to be less restaurants on Facebook. And so when we talk about the battle to influence people and to get them to come out tonight for your happy hour offer or for your wine night or, to try your new burger, there's very little competition in that space. So from a restaurant point of view, this is a open season. I think it's something that everyone should really be thinking about. I'll include a link to that in the show notes. So that's the first 5. Well, I've got another 6 for next week's episode. Have a think about what it is that I've said and have a think about, what is your strategy towards SEO? Do you have text on your website about all of the problems that you solve for Google? Because so many restaurants don't. And it's sad to see because they are particularly, if I've been told that a restaurant's really good and I can't find their website, I'll persevere a little bit. If I'm looking for a vegetarian restaurant in your town and you're a great vegetarian restaurant, but it's not on your website, I will go somewhere else. And the scary thing is that Google won't send you an email to say, you know what, someone looked for a vegetarian restaurant and we sent them over here because you don't say anything about it. This is why poor SEO is the silent killer of restaurants. If the food is great, will they will come? Well, maybe. If you're in the top 1%, then maybe they will. It's a tough industry. You don't want to be fighting with one arm behind your back. You need to be doing marketing because word of mouth, I think, has changed fundamentally these days, and you don't get the kind of reaction that other people are getting. Emails, they do work. We're helping restaurants sending out thousands and thousands of emails every month, and we know that they work. We can see it. And if you're using something like Forbes or Frollo, which are free, you can actually tag those campaigns so that you can say, I sent an email out, it went to 2,000 people, we generated 50 orders, and that brought in $1,500. Now, they're the kind of metrics that are really fascinating because, if you run a campaign like that, each email address is almost worth $1 in revenue to you. You do that 12 times a year and boom, you're really starting to make an impact in the profitability of your restaurant. And the last one, Facebook no longer works. It works. We know that it works. It works for us. Our prime way of getting the story out about marketing for restaurants is through Facebook. And for the restaurants that we work with, we know it works for them. If you're really keen to set one up, have a look at the university course. It's 2.5 hours for single location restaurants. You can get a couple of people to go through it, look at it, start training your staff up. It's only $99 Australian, which if you're in the US, it'll be a lot less than that. It's probably the best $99, and it's got a 30-day money back guarantee. If it doesn't work for you, we'll just give you the money back. We're passionate about making sure that we're putting the right tools in the hands of all your restaurant owners out there. Yeah, have a think about that. That's it. We'll be back next week with the other 6. And apart from that, you have a busy week. Bye.
Want more customers for your restaurant, cafe or takeout? Every month, our marketing tools and information are used by thousands of restaurant owners just like you. to help them find more customers and turn them into repeat customers. All of our tools and information is designed specifically for restaurant owners. We know you don't have a lot of time to spend marketing or learning complicated procedures, so our tools are quick and easy to use. If you're looking to increase your revenue and profits or want to work less hours, check out marketingforrestaurants.com.